On today's show, did the Freddie Mercury guy almost be in Bond 25? Pixar says Onward. And did Aquaman get nominated for Best Picture at the Sag Awards? Tune in. Movie Talk starts right now. Just saying hi to everybody who thinks that everybody here hates Aquaman, because we don't actually. I quite enjoyed Aquaman. Sorry if that doesn't fit into your narrative. My name is Mark Ellis. I host Collider Movie Talk every Monday through Thursday. That is the stalwart Perri Nemiroff, who helps me concoct these show notes. And when I say helps me, I mean she writes the show notes. I just get to talk about it on camera. And over there is Haleigh Foutch, a great writer in her own right. And together they host the Witching Hour podcast every week. It's a Witching Hour reunion of sorts.
Yeah.
Good to see the team
more
back
of those,
together.
the better. Yeah, because we didn't just drop a Witching Hour episode yesterday.
Nope.
Very, very good. Well, I am interested to hear y'all's thoughts, if any horror movies, and I know a couple, or at least one, that got a lot of SAG Award nominations. We're going to get to all those SAG Awards, talk what got snubbed, what are we happy about in just a minute. But first, we have that story I mentioned up top that Rami Malek was considered to be a role in Bond 25. We assume it's a villainous role because there was a villainous role of Egyptian descent that was written back when Danny Boyle was helming the project, and even though that changed hands and they said they're going to completely do a rewrite of the script, now it looks like Rami Malek was being eyed and schedules didn't work out with his Mr. Robot commitments to be able to have him in Bond 25. But man, what a coup it could have been if you land a star on the rise like a Rami Malek in Bond 25. And Haleigh, I hesitate to say, does this mean that we need to delay this movie again so we can get Rami Malek in there? Or what does this do to Bond 25 when you hear that you had a big star like somebody who could even be looking at Oscar Gold at the beginning of next year? All of a sudden he could have been in the movie but is not. Does that hurt Bond 25? Does that help Rami Malek, just the fact that he's up for roles like this? Where do you land on this story?
I don't know, even if, after the year he's having right now, if Rami Malek's the guy you hold Bond 25 for, that might be a bit excessive.
Fair enough.
From my viewpoint. But it's a shame. It would have been great. He would make a great Bond villain. Even just visually thinking about like what they did with Javier Bardem to make him look like a Bond villain, what they would have done to funky up Rami Malek's look. That's sad. That's sad to see go. But I think it's good news for him. I think obviously he's having one of the best years of his career, coming off what was previously one of the best years of his career before that. And I like that he's getting this kind of attention, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, Perri, the Oscar is going to be held in February, and so production for Bond 25 is set to begin in March. So basically, you just leave right from whatever after party you're at that night, and you head right to a plane, and you fly to wherever the hell you're going to be filming Bond 25. Rami Malek seems to me like a perfect candidate for a Bond villain because he has an individualized, distinguished, unique look. He's got physical characteristics that are unique to him and not a lot of other people. So naturally, that is going to lend itself to say, hey, this person would stand out going against somebody like Daniel Craig's James Bond.
I was so excited when I first read this headline because I didn't read it so carefully. And then I started to read the story and I'm like, no, what happened? I was sure they were going to say he was in talks. This is a big bummer. And this is one of those stories where I wish I wasn't, doing this and scouring the internet for news, because now I'm bummed he's not the Bond villain. I think there's still loads of potential for filling that role with another very capable actor, but Rami Malek is just crushing it right now, jumping from one huge thing to the next. And even though Bond 25 is now not in his future, going from the Academy Awards to shooting another season of Mr. Robot, yeah, he's in pretty good shape. But, the Bond villain is such an iconic part of every single installment of that franchise. I'm just really curious to see who they lock for that.
That's right. Leah Sado, in the article, I believe it was Variety, noted that she is reprising her role in Bond 25. And so if you have that, and then it was also coupled with the news. So this was kind of like the underlying story. It might have been the headline if Rami Malek was indeed going to be the villain in Bond 25. So that's not going to happen. Like Perri mentioned, he is going to be doing another season of Mr. Robot. And then if you're guiding Rami Malek's career from there, where would you steer it next? Do you think that it would behoove him to be in a big blockbuster franchise? The great thing about being in a Bond movie, especially a villain, is that you're not Bond. You're not committed to multiple movies. You may be a villain in 2 movies, and then Bond's going to get you eventually. So is that the way for somebody like this to do a big franchise picture.
If he does that, I think he needs to make that decision very, very carefully, because we've seen that backfire before. I don't know why this is coming to mind first, but I keep picturing Oscar Isaac in X-Men Apocalypse. That seemed like a pretty poor choice.
Make sure you know what kind of makeup they're using and if that looks like any character from a 90s kid show.
Then I think about someone who is having a really good end of the year this year with Hailee Steinfeld, who aligns herself with both Bumblebee and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, both major franchise properties, and those installments are excellent.
It's a great point. I mean, so far in his career, he's proven to have like a pretty good detector for things. At least not everyone loves Mr. Robot all the way through. Not everyone loves Bohemian Rhapsody, but he's done really well at picking projects that continue to catapult him further into the spotlight, give him more and more exciting roles to play. Even if you don't like Bohemian Rhapsody, you can't really get mad at his job as Freddie Mercury. He's fantastic in the movie. So yeah, I trust in his taste, and I'm excited to see what he does. And I think a franchise is always a good step for what I was talking about, for getting yourself more into the spotlight, things like that. But I think you make a good point, which is that he's like perfectly fitted to play a Bond villain. So you want to find that kind of role that's just right for you.
It's a live video, by the way. Everybody out there knows. There's a lot of people in the chat room don't know this is a live video.
Really?
So they're just like, yeah, it's live. I'm looking at it right now. It's a live video. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Before we move on to our next topic, which is the SAG nominations, y'all's quick take on Mr. Robot. Do you like it? Do you watch it? Are you going to watch it now because you're a bigger fan of Rami Malek after seeing Bohemian Rhapsody?
I was a huge fan of season 1 and started to lose interest a little bit in season 2, but I'm still thinking I'll probably catch up.
Too computery for you? Not enough Christian Slater? What's the issue with season 2?
It got too, I don't know if this makes sense, it got too like into itself, where it felt like I was kind of part of the journey the first season, and then I felt like I was being jerked around a little bit in the second.
Okay, Hailee, Mr. Robot, yeah, your name.
I agreed with everything Perri just said. I think the second season had a similar problem to Westworld season 2, where it also invested too much in trying to trick the audience instead of just taking the audience on a journey.
Okay, well, I never seen an episode of it, and
sweet.
I mean, look, you guys gave a nice endorsement of season 1, but I don't necessarily want to get invested in that. You know, I just watched The Bodyguard. Finish that on Netflix. 6 episodes, in, out, clean break.
Bodyguard, yeah.
Pretty good. Or not, I'm sorry, it's not The Bodyguard. It's just Bodyguard.
Bodyguard.
Sorry about that.
Jeez, get it right.
The Bodyguard is great, too.
You do this professionally, right?
Nope, never have, never will. On to the SAG Award nominations. The SAG Award by actors, for actors, for the betterment of actors of all ages, races, creeds, all that good stuff. The SAG Awards came out today, and people are talking as much about the snubs as they are who actually did get nominated. So I'm going to run down some of the big categories. Let's start with the ensembles. This is Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Motion Picture. The nominees are A Star is Born, Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, and Crazy Rich Asians. Let's move on to Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Leading Role. That is Emily Blunt for Mary Poppins Returns, Glenn Close in The Wife, Olivia Colman for The Favorite, Lady Gaga for A Star is Born, and Melissa McCarthy for Can You Ever Forgive Me, and the Outstanding Performance by a Male Actor in a Leading Role. Christian Bale for Vice, Bradley Cooper for A Star is Born, Rami Malek, remember him, from Bohemian Rhapsody, Viggo Mortensen, Green Book, and John David Washington, Black Klansman. I'm talking a lot, but I am going to get to the supporting ones too. So, the Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Supporting Role. It's Amy Adams for Vice, Emily Blunt for A Quiet Place, Margot Robbie for Mary, Queen of Scots, Emma Stone for The Favorite, and Rachel Weisz also for The Favorite. And your Outstanding Performance by a Male Actor in a Supporting Role. Yes, we're still live, everybody. Mahershala Ali, Green Book, Timothée Chalamet, Beautiful Boy, Adam Driver, Black Klansman, Sam Elliott, A Star is Born, and Richard E. Grant, Can You Ever Forgive Me?
Very
Ladies,
good.
Take away what you like, what you don't like, who deserved it, who got snubbed, because I am tired of talking.
I'm just impressed that you were able to pronounce everybody's names correctly, because that seems to be a little bit of an issue.
You know, as I was reading it, I was like, which is the name that's eventually going to trip me up? And I got through all of them pretty...
This morning during the announcements, it happened, I think, in the TV section. I'm pretty sure that one of them said... instead of Bill Pullman, said Bull Pillman or something, and I'm like, Spoonerism,
Bull
success.
Pillman, that sounds like a Western actor from the 30s, starring Bull Pillman.
I got a really big kick out of that. But I think the craziest thing this morning about these announcements, the supporting actress category. Where did that come from? Obviously, the two favorites were going to be in the mix, and I wasn't surprised to see them. But then all of a sudden, you've got Emily Blunt pop up there, and obviously Amy Adams is the other one that I figured was going to be in that category. But Emily Blunt for A Quiet Place, I'm like, oh, okay. But then she's not going to be in the Best Actress category, and then she gets that too. So I was really surprised to hear that. And who is talking about Mary Queen of Scots? No one's talking about Mary Queen of Scots. I don't think it's a terrible movie. I liked half of it. That is not an awards contender, even though I think both Margot Robbie and Saoirse Ronan, they're great in it. But why is Margot Robbie on this list and not Regina King? I don't understand that.
Yeah, the Regina King snub is huge to me. I have no idea why that. I mean, if Beale Street could talk, she's beyond amazing in that movie, and I don't in a list, Hailee, where there's a lot of repeat names and similar films. There's a lack of If Beale Street Could Talk and Roma. Do you feel the same way, or do you think that they got it pretty much right this year?
No, I think it's a lot of weird stuff in there that is definitely surprising. I always try to think, because they say that like these Guild Awards, Guild people think differently about their craft than maybe the critics do, and that's why they're often different from the Critics Awards. I'm just trying to think through the mind of an actor. How did you end up here with Margot Robbie and 2 Emily Blunt nominations? Is it because they're so beloved? Like, how does this happen?
I think that one of the reasons I was reading about that could be playing a factor here is when screeners were sent out, because we all know it's impossible to watch every single thing and you need to use your time properly. And I think what wound up happening is it was reported somewhere that Annapurna was the last one to send out their screeners. And sure enough, for this list, that was If Beale Street Could Talk, also Destroyer, because we don't have any Nicole Kidman in either acting category. And then on top of that, it was Vice. And obviously we have Christian Bale and Amy Adams in the mix, but we pretty much had Christian Bale and Amy Adams in the mix before anybody even saw the movie, but it was left out of the ensemble category.
And no Sam Rockwell.
No Sam Rockwell, no Steve Carell.
Right.
Am I just being like, I don't want to be a hater because I love Sam Elliott. I love his entire body of work, but he was good in A Star Is Born, but I didn't leave A Star Is Born being like, that is how you support. Like, he was there. He was the roadie. He was Sam Elliott. I didn't see what was award worthy about that performance, and I feel bad. I bumped into him one time at the Burbank Airport. Very nice guy. But I don't see why this is the movie that it's like, okay, Sam Elliott, here's the lifetime achievement for hanging out on the side of the stage in A Star Is Born. He's got a couple nice speeches. I love the movie. I just don't get it. Am I crazy?
Do you think it could be, I mean, I love Sam Elliott a lot, so I'll always be like, yes, give him an award. But do you think it could be one of those things where it's a career type thing, like he's attached to a project that has the momentum behind it, so now people are like, now's the time to honor Sam Elliott?
I think that I'm a little more familiar as to how Oscars tend to go sometimes. So when it comes to those awards, yes, I think that they give out career achievements all the time, and maybe it's the same thing when you are in SAG, which I'm eligible for, but don't pay the money. So it's like you go, oh yeah, I love this guy and I've loved them for a long time, so I'm going to give that over a newcomer. And whether that's in an actor or an actress category, it's like, oh, Yalitza was great in Roma, but I'm voting for these other people I've loved my entire life, and that doesn't seem fair to me because Regina King's been around for a long time too, and she didn't get nominated. So it is a very confusing year for me.
Statistically, though, it's like you bring up Yalitza, and if you go back years and years, it's very unlikely that someone will get nominated from a foreign film. So while I looked at that list and I'm like, where's Roma all over the place? That could signal a reason why. The other thing, actually, you just kind of brought it up. So you can clear this up if I'm wrong and you have a better understanding of this. But with the whole SAG-AFTRA thing, because what happens is the SAG guild is this gigantic guild, and then these nominations are picked by, I think the number is like 2,500 individuals from that group. But because it's not just actors, because of the AFTRA part, and then you have, I think you have like radio jockeys and TV personalities or something.
Let the Morning Zoo crew vote on this stuff?
I think, no, I was just reading a couple of articles about how that combination has kind of changed the game a little bit for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's, look, I'll be honest with you. I'm the host of Movie Talk, so maybe it is my job to do more research as to how the SAG nominations come about. I didn't do it today, guys.
Or you should pay your dues and start voting. Come on, that's so cool.
Look, I'm considering it for the insurance, because you do get a nice break on insurance and they take care of their actors, but I don't know. It seems like a lot of work to fill out all those forms. Anyway, we move on. You guys good on the SAG Awards? Anything else? Who's going to win? Do you guys have give me your lead pipe lock as to who is definitely walking away with the SAG Award from any one of these categories?
Well, I do think it is super cool that both Black Panther and Crazy Rich Asians got nominations in the Best Ensemble, especially because Awkwafina was one of the ones announcing the nominations this morning. And when they got there and she was able to say, you could see how happy she was. And that's just been such a big bright spot in film this year. That particular cast and how excited everybody was that was part of the movie, how excited everybody was to see the movie, and how happy that movie kind of makes you feel. So to have that one firmly in the mix is very exciting. And the same thing goes for Black Panther, because with all the love that Black Panther is getting, even though we didn't see a nomination for Michael B. Jordan here, I kind of wouldn't be surprised if that momentum continued to pick up, where we get even more nominations than what we've already seen for that movie.
I think I would have done Best Supporting Actor for him as Killmonger over Sam Elliott. I'm sorry, Sam. Hailee, who's walking away with a SAG Award?
I don't know that I would be great at predicting the SAG Awards, clearly based on the nominations that came out today. So I will just say, and it will surprise no one, I'm very upset about Toni Collette not receiving an award.
Course.
And that, from my perspective, would have seemed like an actor's performance that they really would have sunk their teeth into and been like, holy shit, she did that.
I wonder, does Hereditary do this?
So excited for this movie. Watch. I don't even need to hear about a voice cast. I don't need a synopsis. I don't need trailers. If Pixar puts a movie out, I'm gonna see it. And it's actually part of the reason why I say that is because of what Dan Scanlon said in his quotes. And it's that this film was inspired by my own relationship with my brother. It's just, Pixar has a habit of finding some, a fantasy kind of way to tap into really true universal emotions and ideas. And I really feel like that's a big part of the reason why Pixar movies kind of sweep me off my feet, whether we're talking about, something with a superhero vibe like Incredibles, but then it's the development of a family and growing up for the kids at its core. That's why I think these movies resonate with so many people.
Well, hopefully we get to see Onward when it comes out in 2020, but it's going to be up to our new alien captors. That's right, aliens are coming to Earth. Don't worry, everybody. John Goodman is here to protect us. March 29th. 2019 is when Captive State comes out in theaters in the United States. Just got a first look trailer of it. It's John Goodman, a number of other notables. You got Ashton Sanders in there, Jonathan Majors, Colson Baker, Vera Farmiga. This movie is directed by Rupert Wyatt, who also did Rise of the Planet of the Apes, The Gambler. Loved the Apes movie, did not like The Gambler at all. This film is about aliens. They came to Earth, they've been here for about a decade, and they're kind of oppressive fascists, and humanity has been divided into two camps. The ones that just kind of do what they need to do for the greater good and then resist. Which camp would you be in? Be honest. Be honest with yourself. Who would you be? We'd love to think we're the resistance. Are we going to be? Are we not going to be? This is why you need to search ET and not let him off the hook. I'll get off my political soapbox here, Perry. Did you like this trailer for Captive State? Did it capture your imagination?
Kind of. So I believe this is the third trailer we've seen for this movie, and I liked the more cryptic styles because those definitely piqued my interest, where it was making me think. I've never quite seen a scenario paired with an alien invasion like this before, and it was leaving me with a lot of questions in terms of the world building and what was really going on. And then it was almost like this latest trailer just threw a lot of information at me, and all those things that I was kind of holding on to before, I lost sight of them, and now I kind of, I don't really know what to picture or expect anymore, and that bums me out, but I'm going to see no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely felt the political overtones of this more, and maybe some comparisons you can make to society at large with this trailer. And when I said it's the first trailer, I guess it's the first full-length trailer.
First full one. The other two were more teasers, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest with myself, I like the teaser trailers more, the ones that give away very little, but it's very hard for us to not watch the full-length trailers when they come out. Hailee, did you feel like this gave you more information and now you're more excited to see the movie, or were you like Perry and they already had your money?
I think it did give more information, but much less organized. It felt like a very chaotic trailer, and I walked out of it actually feeling like I had less of an idea what they're doing with the movie, except the allegory, which is very clear. And that might be a problem for me, which is just that we've seen this type of sci-fi story so many times. So can Rupert Wyatt find something new to bring to that subgenre of sort of like peacefully oppressive alien controllers. That's very classic sci-fi trope. So it's tricky.
Yeah, it's almost a little bit like District 9 through a funhouse mirror, where instead of us being the oppressors, it's the aliens doing it. And I mean, obviously, Neil Blomkamp, you can love District 9, or you can say Elysium was a little too on the nose with its socio-political commentary. And it's a tough line to hit, because even somebody who, you know, has very strong political beliefs, I don't necessarily want that in everything I go to see it for it to be that overt. But sometimes we need that, and sometimes it's nice to hold a mirror up to society and say, hey, look, some people are acting like the aliens in this movie, so don't do it. I wonder if this alien film will have traction, though. I mean, because with a cast like this, it's a very talented cast. It's not anything that's going to grab you from a blockbuster standpoint. So now you're relying on either the alien plot, the special effects. Do you think this movie has a chance of popping in the box office? I mean, this comes out late March, and late March, as we know, is already the summer movie season.
If I had to place a bet right now, I would bet no, because I think it hinges on reviews and initial reactions that are going to drive people to see it. And, you know, it kind of goes to what you were just explaining, Hailee. When I went into the first two teaser trailers, it set up everything so elegantly and left me in a place where I didn't really know what they were getting at or where we were heading. So there were all these options out there, and then all of a sudden you dump all this on me, and I recognize that and that and that. And I still have high hopes that it's going to be more than how I've pieced everything together, but there is a firm chance that that's the direction it could be heading.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a word of mouth film. So if it turns out really good, if they really did find something new to say with this trope, if they're not just doing childhood's end again, then yes, maybe it'll be great. And that will allow it to succeed at the box office. Otherwise, I don't think it has much of a shot in that release date.
Yeah, interested to see what this movie brings to us. We're going to save some time for your live Twitter questions at the end of this show. So go ahead and start tweeting us right now at Collider Video. Use the hashtag Collider Movie Talk. Whatever you want to chat about. Is it a story today? Is it something else going on in the world of cinema, the world at large? Whatever you need to get off your chest, we're here. We're here to listen to you. We're your shoulders to cry on in just a little bit. But first, Aaron Sorkin has a project that looks like it may be hitting the skids. Unfortunately, that Chicago 7 movie that I was really excited to check out is shutting down, at least as of right now, due to budget concerns. There's this movie, had Sacha Baron Cohen attached, Eddie Redmayne, Jonathan Majors. It was a story about the Chicago 7 in the late 60s during the Democratic National Convention. A lot of stuff going down in Chicago. Aaron Sorkin was attached to it, and now there's budgetary concerns that it's getting a little too inflated, and so it's shutting down in pre-production. This is a project that has been high caliber. Steven Spielberg was looking at it, Paul Greengrass. I believe Ben Stiller was also somebody who was considering this before Aaron Sorkin signed on to direct a couple months ago. You know Aaron Sorkin for his writing. He's also now a director, and I think a pretty capable one at that. So insiders are saying, and this is all according to the Hollywood Reporter, that the company remains committed to the project. This is Amblin Entertainment we're talking about. And with Aaron Sorkin, they're going to regroup and redevelop it. But if you have budgetary concerns and you're worried about spending too much money over a story that you're not sure people want to go see, how's that going to work out? I think people want to see this movie. Am I crazy? Because it's going to be hyper-political. And it's Aaron Sorkin writing. It's going to be fast-paced. It's going to be about some people who are trying to undermine. There was the riots. There was protest in 1968 during the Democratic National Convention. I want to see this movie, Perri. Apparently, I'm the only one because we're shutting it down over budgetary concerns.
I wanted to see it too. I mean, I feel like we've been covering for this movie for so long.
Yeah.
It was about time that it actually happened. But even though Amblin released that statement, again, if I had to place a bet right now, I would bet on this movie not happening with this specific group of people, because we're also talking about a bunch of people here who are extremely talented and probably have other opportunities they can jump to. So if they're not ready to pull the trigger now, and if it needs to be reworked that significantly, I wouldn't be surprised if we lost a lot of these people and wound up covering it again in a couple of years with a different director.
You think it's going to be a different director? Because they say they remain committed to Sorkin, but you think that it might go a different way? Is Sorkin getting one of those reputations?
I don't necessarily think they're lying. I don't think they made that statement just to, pull one over on us. I think they are committed to him right now. It's just the nature of the business. You stay committed to something until something else comes along, and you're like, well, I got to go make that movie. Otherwise, I won't have that opportunity right now either. And you jump ship, and then all of a sudden it gets forgotten and gets put into turnaround, and then we wind up covering something for another decade.
Yeah, and Aaron Sorkin, Haleigh Foutch, as we know, he's a busy human. He's working on a lot of stuff, and if you add directing to his resume, he's going to be even busier. So maybe he's just simply not available whenever this project gets back up off the ground. Do you see it eventually hitting theaters in some capacity, or do you think it's just kaput?
I think it's stuck around so long that it's probably not kaput. I think they'll keep trying to make it happen. They're clearly committed to the story and the idea of it, and it's a shame. I hope it does stick with Sorkin because he seems like such a good voice for the material. Like Perri said, though, it depends on timing, I think, at this point, if they can work it out. And also, I was a little surprised when I thought about this film and this story, and I saw that it had been postponed again. I was like, yeah, that sounds like that movie. They do that. And then I saw it was for budgetary concerns. That was not what I was expecting for a political drama. That makes me curious if Sorkin just has a totally different vision for it than what they want to do.
It's possible. I was also reading, I forget who wrote the Collider.com article, but they reference things like, let's say, the failure at the box office of a movie like First Man. If you're gunning for that same type of audience, maybe, it was First Man, and also they referenced Detroit and how neither of them did well at the box office. So if you're going for that kind of audience, that's where the budgetary concerns could come in.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, this does seem in line with those two that it would be a very mature film for a sort of rarefied audience, but it seems, I don't know, we don't know that much about it. On paper, though, to me, it seems like it has a wider reach than those two films.
Yeah, and I understand it's the same kind of time period, but it's interesting to see. You never know what studios are thinking, is the bottom line. Yeah. You don't know what, they all have some machine that they enter a bunch of information to, and it spits out how much that movie's going to make at the box office, and who knows if they can trust it. I guarantee you Sony didn't think Venom was going to make that much money, and neither did I. Only Perri Nemiroff.
I'm pretty sure I missed that one a little bit too.
Because she got closer than anybody else. That's the magic of Perry Poppins. I would remind you all that Mark Riley, the Riley Roundtable, it's got an all-new episode in podcast form. You can check out Jedi Council tomorrow. That is going to be on the air at 10 a.m. They get up early to do that show. Dropping Dimes, Movie Talk. We're going to be back here 4 p.m. PST when I wake up. And Collider Games is a new podcast. So check out all the channels here at Collider. It's Collider Video, Collider Quick, Collider Games, all that good stuff. And we got some good wrestling programming for you wrestling fans as well. Let's move on to the live Twitter questions, and we have a fun one to start us off because Luis E. de la Pena, he's asking a lot of good questions in this one in honor of the Brightburn trailer. Y'all see the Brightburn trailer? The Superman, except it looks like Superman. It's the same Superman origin story, except imagine if Superman, instead of fighting for justice and saving the world, decided to be a weird, scary kid and chew on forks. In honor of the Brightburn trailer, what superhero from any company, wherever, would you like to see get this treatment? Ooh. So it's like you take a superhero and you make them into a super villain, same backstory. Look, virtually any superhero out there could break bad.
Absolutely.
Instead of breaking good. Example, Bruce Wayne. You watch your parents get murdered. You got all this money. You got a butler, crusty old butler telling you what to do. You could just run around, spend that money to own Gotham in a bad way and be a crime boss instead of just being the hero that Gotham needs. So that's just one example. Hailee, do you have anybody on your mind you'd like to see turn evil?
Yeah, I think just because of the nature of her powers, if Rogue went evil, that would be a particularly nasty, scary film that I would like to see, especially her relationship to her powers is so much a part of the character as we know it, but if her relationship to that turned into a source of like pride and enjoyment and a perverse like pleasure in doing that horrible thing to people, that would be an interesting fucked up film, and I would watch it.
Yeah, like Rogue, Jean Grey. I mean, the X-Men in comic book history has dangled those storylines in front of us too from time to time, where it's like, do you always use your mutant powers for good? It's a great through line through a lot of the X-Men, Perry, where it's like, what are we fighting for ultimately? Why do we even care about these bum humans that don't have any superpowers?
I'm surprised I got so sensitive about this as I started to think about it, because the first character that came to mind, because we have Spider-Verse coming out this week, was Spider-Man, and then I was like, no, like I don't want that. But then I jumped to someone like Iron Man, and just with all the conflict we've seen him deal with recently in the MCU, and just the idea of how powerful he is in terms of his company and the influence he can have on the world. What if he did kind of veer towards the darker side and use those abilities and that technology to do some bad?
Yeah, I mean, what if Captain Marvel decides to go evil instead? I mean, that literally ends the MCU after that movie. We're done.
That would, no.
There's no coming back.
Because as you said that, I started, like, I know it's a heroic vibe when you watch it in context of the full trailer, but that image of her going aflame
Yeah.
That kind of makes me think. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
It would not be a good day because you're pinning all your hopes. We sent a page tour for crying out loud. We literally sent a beeper to Captain Marvel. That's our last hope for humanity. And if she doesn't come through and she joins Thanos, then I'd pay to see that fight if they want to duke it out. But we're not surviving it either way. We're all getting snapped. So Tender of Energies next up, and he says, "Hey guys, thanks for fixing the stream."
Oh.
No problem. I did it. Me, with my computer. What's your favorite alternate Christmas movie? So for him, it's Batman Returns and Catch Me If You Can. So it's like a Christmas movie, but it's not like, it's not hitting you over the head with the fact that, oh, it's Christmas, so we're all going to fall in love. And
Is that a popular
kids.
term?
I like it, if it is.
Okay.
And Die Hard is not an alternate Christmas movie. Die Hard is just a Christmas movie.
Oh, boy.
As is Die Hard, too.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, let's have this. I don't know. The internet always gets all
We're
up in
singing
arms
carols.
about it.
We're quoting Santa.
I'm on the team of you. I believe that it's
Thank
a
you.
Christmas movie, but somebody on the internet's going to have something to say about that. Like always. Mine's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. That I watch that every year. I adore that
Nice.
film. And that has become a movie that has a whole lot of Christmas spirit imbued into it because of how I watch it annually.
Okay.
I love it.
How about you, Perry? You could go with another Shane Black movie, Iron Man 3.
I kind of want to cheat a little and go with Nightmare Before Christmas, just because that's another one that I love to argue about. Is it a Christmas movie or is it a Halloween movie? And I think it's a both movie.
It is.
I think it's a Halloween movie. I feel like maybe if it was any other director.
During both holidays.
I know,
it's about
but-
Jack Skellington learning about the joys of Christmas in all the wrong ways.
Yeah, but isn't his head like a freaking pumpkin? I mean, come on,
It's like a skeleton.
That's a Halloween.
But he goes to Christmas Town.
He goes to Christmas
and he brings
Town.
it back to Halloween Town.
I don't want Christmas Town doing anything with Halloween Town, though. I am a newer fan of that movie because I had never seen it up to like a couple years ago.
Did we have this conversation?
We did,
before?
yeah.
I do remember this now.
Yeah, the lady at the time, my good friend Danny, took me to
Yes.
see the movie for the first time at the Hollywood Bowl with Danny Elfman on stage composing it. Catherine O'Hara came out, Paul Rubens came out. They did some Oingo Boingo at the end. It was pretty festive.
What a
night.
way to see it for the first time.
Yeah,
I'm kind of jealous.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, if you talk about like a movie where Christmas is just kind of like out there and it's in the background, I don't consider Gremlins a straight Christmas movie, but there's a lot of Christmas cheer in Gremlins, and there's also just like, if you think Gremlins is a Christmas movie, wait until Phoebe Cates goes on her little soliloquy about how her dad died. He dressed up like Santa and he died in the chimney because. I'm sorry, but Phoebe Cates, your dad was not he was not the brightest bulb in the shop. That's how he's going to do it.
Can I throw in a TV episode?
You can certainly throw in a
The
TV.
Ian McShane episode in American Horror Story Asylum. That is such a messed up Christmas set episode.
Is Asylum the one current? Asylum's not the one.
Asylum is season 2.
Okay, how is the one? I saw the first episode of American Horror Story
boy.
for this season. Is that that's the Apocalypse one, right?
This is going to be a very difficult thing to discuss with the two of us.
Is
We
it-
have
just
differing opinions.
Differing opinions.
Yeah.
So I should not keep going down this rabbit hole. I should check out another season instead.
How do you feel about American Horror Story Coven?
Never seen any of these things.
Oh,
Never seen any of them.
no.
Yeah, you should stop.
Yeah. It's very directly tied into 3 different previous seasons.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No American Horror Story. I guess I'm
Also,
just
it's
waiting
not
for,
very good. So
waiting for the bodyguard.
Agree to disagree on that one.
All right. Let's do one more, and then we will call it a day. Matthew Spencer is up, and this one's gonna be a bit of a test for us because he says with the Library of Congress adding 25 films to the National Registry, what 3 films would you add? You don't have to do 3. You can just do 1. If you have 3, you can. For him, Matthew is taking Blues Brothers, Apollo 13, and The Dark Knight.
Well, can I pick one that got in today? Because Jurassic Park's on the list.
Jurassic Park did get in today.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay.
I mean, this assumes that I know offhand what is and is not already in
You
there.
don't have it memorized?
I assure you, I do not. Is the thing in there? The thing should be in there.
I'm going to look it up, but in case the thing is in there, you need to give me an alternate pick.
Alien? Is Alien in there? If Alien's not in there, I'm gonna
Alien's
be
got to be in there.
furious.
I can't imagine Alien not
Livid.
being in there.
Speaking of Pixar, I think Inside Out should be in there. I think that's one of the most brilliant cinematic ideas, and it's so insanely well executed.
I'm trying to think of something more recent since mine are kind of old and they're probably both in there.
I'm going to go... I think Point Break should be in there. I think it's the seminal action movie of the 90s, either Point Break or The Rock, and then I'm going to go with another Michael Bay movie, 13 Hours. Put it in the National Film Rate. Everybody needs to see that movie. It's an all-time great war movie. All-time great.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, thank you very much.
This is the panel of politely disagreeing today.
There's a lot to talk about
theme.
today and this week. And I'll tell you what, Matthew Spencer, we'll think about some other ones for the Library of Congress to add to the National Film Registry. And we'll get back to you tomorrow. And that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Collider Movie Talk. We got one more this week, 4 p.m. tomorrow on Thursday. Before we get there, I want to thank my esteemed panelist, Miss Perri Nemiroff. Where can all the kids find Perri Poppins?
Excuse me. Yeah, that's what I was hoping you were going for. Twitter and Instagram at P. Nemiroff. You can find Perri Poppins and Dewey. I feel like he needs a cutesy name.
The chimney sweep.
He's not a chimney sweep.
Is he a lamplighter?
He actually is kind of a chimney sweep because he kind of likes to claw and go into the fireplace, which is not a good thing.
Yeah, okay. Well, he's a chimney sweep.
All right.
Come up with something.
Wow,
Yeah.
that was flat. No.
Yeah. Dewey Van Dyke?
That's not bad.
We're getting there.
We're starting.
We're getting there.
Somebody out there's already working on the graphics, so
I know,
please
really.
have at it. Perri Poppins, Dewey, Haleigh Foutch. You have any resemblance to a classic Disney beloved character you'd like to point out?
No, sir, but you can find me on Twitter at Haleigh Foutch.
That is Haleigh. That is Perri. Whatever you want to give their last names is fine with me. I am merely Mark Ellis. Upcoming tour dates can be found at markellislive.com. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Throw it to the wide to say goodbye. Have a great day, everybody. Stay off the internet. Go be with your families. Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.